Hey everybody, it's Rob Liefeld. How you guys doing? Great to see you, my friend. Great to be talking to the folks at IDW and all of you. Yes, I am writing and drawing, and it's been a blast. Snake Eyes, Deadgame, launches July 15th. It is my dipping my big toe in GI Joe. Okay, the GI Joe universe, and honestly, I'm thrilled. I was actually thinking about it today. G.I. Joe is my first love. It is my first love as a toy. I do not remember toys before G.I. Joe. I remember the passion I had for G.I. Joe. It was an action adventure team back then. It would later launch as the Reagan era, superstar, #1 best-selling cartoon, toy, comic book. And I was there for that too, but I was 1974. Yes, I'm really old. Kung Fu Grip, yeah. I wish I should have brought Kung Fu Grip for the interview, but I already put him back in the box. So yeah, so this is a total bucket list dream assignment. Snake Eyes was my favorite, and I'm obviously not alone. He is a massive fan favorite character, so he is leading the charge in this new series, and I am excited to drop it on you guys.
How old were you when the 3-inch figures came out?
So let's see. I'm 7 here.
Uh-huh.
I'm 7 here, and so basically, probably 15. And I was into the cartoon as it aired, and the comic book mainly. I was really excited about the comic. Hats off to Hasbro and Marvel. That GI Joe #1 is an iconic image with them all, bum rushing from the tank, coming right at you, and that double sizer with Herb Trimpe and Bob McLeod on art, and obviously Mr. Larry Hama, getting us rolling on what would be like a legendary classic of its time, So I picked that up as part of my monthly obsession with comic books. I immediately started getting G.I. Joe, and it's funny because, I'm old enough to remember, now we're in the 80s, but 1983, 1984, and the G.I. Joe #2, the issue 2, demand for one was so much that issue 2 sold a lot of copies, but it was hot. I'm going to tell you, if you didn't get it that first Wednesday it came out, because it was a direct market comic, it wasn't coming out on the newsstands, it was in your comic store. I remember G.I. Joe 2, the scramble. Do you have it? Do you have it? Calling around stores, going to conventions. It's marked up. I mean, G.I. Joe just kind of came back, raging, and Cobra, Joe's, the whole new outlook, and so I hung with that as a comic book for the entirety. Yeah, I love the toys, love the concept, love the characters. Been with Joe for a long time.
And out of the gate, Snake Eyes was a favorite.
Oh, come on, Snake Eyes was the standout.
He was
in
the
few
best
glimpses, right? I mean, look, I'm going to tell you why. To me, it always boils down to so the same basics that I got from Star Wars as a kid. When I saw Obi-Wan, I understood that he was Eastern influenced. He was like a samurai, okay? Old samurai that looks like Moses from the Bible. Like, you got all sorts of mashups happening with the Jedis, okay? They look like prophets from the Bible or from the 10 Commandments, but they move like samurai. And then you had Han Solo, who was a cowboy. Well, let me tell you, dude, first guy I ever saw that said, I have a gun and a katana was Snake Eyes. Gun, katana, Snake Eyes. Okay, I'm pulling my sword and I'm shooting you. What? Like, hadn't seen that before, and again, when I go back to the history, I look at the history of characters, why they were popular. I always cite the reason I loved the Avengers as a kid. Cap had a shield, Hawkeye had a bow and arrow, Thor had a hammer, and then you get to the Joe team, and they have all of these great weapons. And I'm going to tell you, people have asked me over the years, was G.I. Joe an influence on X-Force? And it's, yes, obvious. Yes, they were 100%. I just didn't want to do military weapons. Katanas are always going to be katanas. But I wanted to do big Jack Kirby laser rifles instead of rifles that if you didn't draw them correctly, the Marines at the convention would go, hey man, you didn't draw that right. I wasn't having any of that. So with G.I. Joe, I actually do occasionally get out pistol reference and stuff. It's not like X-Force where you can go, I'm just going to improv this. But yeah, Snake Eyes, man, that visual, the goggles that became the visor, huge influence on me. I mean, huge.
He absolutely was the coolest character in those original comics. And I remember like age, 6 to 15 or so, all you want is guns and swords.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get
And
it
then
all in one character.
and then you got all those great. I mean, GI Joe always had great art, but then you had guys like Michael Golden and Mike Zeck doing covers, and Snake Eyes never looked so cool. I mean, and then the fact that he's silent, which as a writer is a great challenge, because as I'm writing the story and plotting it through, and then discussing with my scripter Chad Bowers, who does a knockout job, I was like, well, obviously Snake Eyes can't narrate this. I don't want him as the narrator. We're not going to get into his thoughts, but we have to. This is who's narrating the first. Then we're going to switch the narrative, and we're going to pick up Scarlet at the end, and but then dialogue's going to have to carry us with the other characters along the way. In case anyone's, so we know him as Joe Colton, is classic Joe, and if you had any doubts that he's in Snake Eyes Deadgame, doubt no longer. Doubt no longer. I and Joe are one in Deadgame. Okay, he's there. He's there. Okay, he's awesome. You want to talk about a thrill? I'm bringing them all in, mashing them up. But if you don't think like the joy of him and Snake Eyes on the same page, boom.
Sounds awesome. Real quick, one of the things you're known for is costume design. There's some of the most striking and well-remembered costumes.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering how much of that design work goes into GI Joe. Are you staying on model, or are they going to look?
No. I am. Thank you very much for that. I am staying on model for most of it. I have collected many, especially in recent years, as I knew I was heading in this direction, because I started doing some one-off GI Joe Snake Eyes covers as far back as I think 2013, 2014 for IDW, and I have a vast array now of Snake Eyes action figures, and some he's got like a trench coat, and some he's got like fatigue pants to go with his black kind of rubbery costume with the visor. So I'm changing it up, but we have a whole bunch of new bad guys in this, and I was able to design them and have had a great time, contributing that and wondering, hey man, if people like this, is it possible this could be on a toy shelf? I'm there, man. I'm going to shoot high. So we have several new characters, and we start in the first issue with the introduction of our new bad guy. I didn't want to do a traditional GI Joe story. I think there have been some great Cobra versus Joe stories, and spies and traitors and super missions. I wanted to lean into mysticism, mythology. I mean, you got a world of ninjas and everything that incorporates. And so we are introducing a new, like, I would say he leans towards the mystical side of things, but because there are weapons that are mythical and mystical weapons that we all know, from Excalibur, we've seen King Arthur's sword a million times. When I was a kid, I discovered Thor's hammer before I discovered Thor in Marvel Comics, because we had a giant encyclopedia in my classroom in first grade, and I saw this Nordic warrior battling giants with this giant Mjolnir, and you go, hey man, that's cool. Snake Eyes is a weapon of war. Storm Shadow is a weapon of war. Our bad guy, whose name is Kirigan, so we're saying it now, Kirigan is the mythical kind of, was he a sorcerer? Was he a wizard? What is his exact origin? You're going to have to read the book to find out, but he wants to bring about the Deadgame, which is a ritual triggered by whoever wields the Sword of the Dead, or as others refer to it in the book, the Dead Sword. And so it's the MacGuffin of the whole series. The Dead Sword will bring about a whole lot of bad stuff, and Snake Eyes is up against it. I always like when my characters are up against huge, consequences and insurmountable odds. And I feel like by the end of issue 1, you will feel that Snake Eyes is up against it, because Kirigan is a really tough customer in the first issue, and we are just, and he's literally just been reawakened or arisen, and everyone's talking about how this is him, like, not fully awakened or rested, or at his peak strength. He's depleted, and he still gives Snake Eyes the business. So as his mythology unfolds, Snake Eyes is up against the clock to try and stop him with his friends in the Joe team, Roadblock, Scarlet. And we'll see how Storm Shadow figures into this. Obviously, something like this is going to attract the Cobra Coalition. So, you know, I feel like I went big. I tried to make a big I keep saying I tried to pull Snake Eyes into a Rob Liefeld story rather than pulling Rob Liefeld into a G.I. Joe story. And we'll see how it works. And I'm very excited. I know that there's been a great response to this, which is nice to know that the old man still has it, because, you know, I want to keep pushing it. I'm 52. I'm not a kid anymore. That's why I was buying this when I was, 7 years old. Okay. And so I'm just excited. I'm just excited to get it out there. It'll be out in a week from wherever we're doing this. It comes out July 15th. And I hope that people are showing up and making their way. Call your store. You need to reserve a copy. As you and I have talked, we are living in weird times. Your retailers are ordering conservatively. They are ordering conservatively. They are not going balls out on this stuff because it's conservative times. These are weird times. We're fortunate the comic stores are open. They're operating. Diamond's back up. IDW, Hasbro, Rob Liefeld, we're delivering. July 15th, be there and experience it for yourself. I'm very excited with it.
We're excited for the book. We can't wait for it to come out. It's going to be awesome. Your fans are excited. It's going to be a great time. So thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us.
No, Alex, it's my pleasure. Thank you all for supporting Snake Eyes Dead Game. Go Joe. Yo Joe. All of it.
Love it.
Thanks, buddy.